Hey there, cosplay enthusiasts. Welcome to this week's episode of Cosplay Cafe, where we are going to be discussing specialty conventions with our friends Alex and Brendan right after our lovely little theme song.
I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. Yeah, I'm a cosplayer. You know what I mean. And I do my little turn on the con floor. Yeah, on the con floor. Oh, on the con floor. Yeah, I do my little turn on the con floor. And I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. And I'm too sexy for this song.
Pokeballs by Crayle is your one-stop shop for handmade magical creations that celebrate all the Pokemon universe has to offer. Available on CrayleVanest.com, that's CrayleVanest.com, and possibly coming to a con near you.
One nightmare destroyed Aidan O'Donnell. Aidan Gray, aka Scorcher, was born out of those ashes. The Forces of Nature trilogy is about the destructive powers of having superpowers that you don't understand and can't control. It's about redemption, about finding love and finding yourself. You can find the first two books, Scorcher and Thin Ice, online wherever books are sold. You can also pre-order the upcoming audiobook for Scorcher at www.kellyguentner.com. That's www.KELLYGUENTNER.
Hey everybody, I am bringing in our guests now. This is Brendan and this is Alex. How are you both doing?
Doing great.
Doing pretty good myself too.
Yeah, we were supposed to have the other Phoenix sister, Kelly. I'm Crayle, by the way, one half of Phoenix Sisters Cosplay. But she is actually on the road right now. She had to leave my house in the timing in such a way that she's still driving. So, we don't want somebody driving and podcasting live if they can help it. Safety first. It's true for cosplay, true when you're on the road. So, I guess we'll get right into it. We're talking about specialty cons this show, and we'll get right into that after I allow our guests to talk a little bit about how they got into cosplay. So, Brendan, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Since I've been on here before, I'll just kind of get to the gist of it. So, my good friend Saad, he introduced me into cosplay, really. Before that, in high school, I had made together costumes for Halloween, but I never really got into cosplay for conventions until Saad got me into going to my first convention about 7 years ago now. Wow. Yeah. And just kind of went from there.
Yeah. Real quick before I have Alex answer, Cool Gamer says hello, everybody, and hello to you too. That's one of our regular viewers, and we appreciate you so much. Alex, this is your first time on the show, so if you want to elaborate a little more than Brendan did, feel welcome. How did you first get into cosplay and conventions?
Well, I did a brief journalism story covering mainstream and independent comics for the DePaul, as I am a journalism graduate from there. I did a little news story covering a con and covering the con a little bit, and a panel on independent comics where I saw different people from Quest Protein, different industries like that, and I'm hoping to, it basically started off from started off there for me, and then it kind of just was history that first time I attended there.
That's really awesome. That's a new one. I mean, I talk to people all the time. That's one of our common questions on this show about how they got started, and that's one I haven't heard before. So congrats for having a slightly less usual got exposed to cosplay for the first time story. Not that there's anything wrong with having a story that's more common. It's just I never thought about that, how when you go to like do coverage for something, how you could be like, oh wait, I like want to be involved actively. We've got a few more hellos from the audience. Nuclear Commando, that's my friend Alex, says hello. Hello, Alex. He's taking off time from his very busy evening plans of redoing his Animal Crossing island tonight, and I'm so flattered. And Garrett Dunawald says, good evening, Tuesday night party people. Tuesday night party night. And Fred Kier says hello also. So hi to all of you. We appreciate you being here with us. So getting right into the topic of specialty conventions, I'll just keep going the same direction on my screen and asking Brendan first, but it's not because I like Brendan any more than Alex, folks. What do you consider to be a specialty convention?
Well, the topic of the specialty conventions, the two in question that me and Alex attended 2 months ago were the Star Wars Legends Con and myself, the Uncanny Experience. And so the thing about these conventions that set them apart is because they're based around a specific fandom and are catered to like getting like guests and like have an immersive experience based on that fandom. So in my experience, the Uncanny Experience was in like a very mansion-like place called the Minneapolis Club. And they had like the whole place looked like the X Mansion and had like everything X-Men themed there. So it was like a very like fandom focused convention.
Yep.
So yeah, I would like consider like a specialty con to be one that's very focused on a singular topic.
That was my impression too. Alex, did you have anything you wanted to add? Or since you guys went to the same ones recently, you might have similar thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna be piggybacking off of Brennan here. The convention I went to in Southern California, Legends Con, is basically more concentrated on the Star Wars expanded universe, with Han and Leia having 3 children instead of 1 like in the canon, and Luke actually having his wife and kid. That's what that convention is mainly about, I would say, just covering those kinds of stories. I've even seen a Tahiri Vela walk around. Basically, that convention is covering the expanded universe lore as opposed to like the canon lore that's seen in any other convention and Star Wars Celebration itself.
Yeah, that one seems to be very specific. Like, whereas like my most common experience with a specialty convention is doing the Superman celebration in Metropolis, Illinois most years. And that one does cover like really broad DC fandom as far as what people dress up as and stuff. But the focus for the events, because the town is called Metropolis and they have this gigantic, I don't even remember how many feet, it's like multiple building stories high, full color painted statue of Superman right on like the main city square near the courthouse and stuff. So it's very immersive in that sense, which is something Brandon mentioned also, was that specialty cons tend to be a little more immersive. And that one focuses a lot, some years also on LARP, on live action role play for things from Superman specific media, like a Smallville LARP, for instance. So, do you guys feel like there are some different pros and cons to attending something like that as opposed to more of like a PopCon or a Comic-Con generally?
Well, definitely the thing you have to keep in mind going into these is it's definitely going to have a smaller attendance. But when it comes to the guests, though, I'd say it's actually pretty fair, even maybe a little better, because you actually get some high-profile guests. Like, for instance, at the Uncanny Experience, we had like Chris Claremont himself there, as well as many of the voice actors from the X-Men 90s animated series, even the showrunner himself. So it's got quite a lot of guests there. So you're not really missing out on that front. Definitely the vendors are a little small, but it's really like what you want to get out of it. Like the whole place itself, in my instance, being very much like the X Mansion, it gave like a lot of opportunities for LARP and for photo ops and stuff like that. So it's all about what you really want going into it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. Alex, do you?
Yeah, it's about the same thing as Brennan is saying. It's definitely a lot more smaller and concentrated and in a much smaller venue, I would say, and definitely plenty of Star Wars Legends authors walking around. Even I get to drink with Randy Stradley himself, who's the editor of the Star Wars expanded universe comics, specifically on Cade Skywalker and other stories around that. So yeah, that was a really cool experience just to like drink with a bunch of authors and other like-minded Legends fans. And it was like basically one big happy hour, the after party, I would say, just talking about different Star Wars media, canon versus Legends, things like that.
Yeah, I think definitely, I think one of the pros for me, if you're really big on organizing photo shoots or participating in big group photo shoots, is a pro for the organizing of that is you tend to get fewer people when it's a specialty, like specific convention, being like, well, can I show up even though I'm this character that isn't on theme? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with including characters who aren't on theme, but having a shoot where you're not figuring out like a justification for like a cross universe event or something like that can make it a little easier on the organizers sometimes. So
right, you know, it's funny at the Acain experience, there was literally someone that was posting on Instagram who was going, and he said how I think he was bringing like Spider-Man 2099 or something, but he was like he was so dedicated to fitting it in that he was like showing a panel from a comic where he did interact with the X-Men. So at least with that one, like you can kind of justify seeing a Spider-Man or Cap.
yeah, I mean, there are lots of ways to do it. Like coming up somewhat soon, the Cosplay Cafe Baristas, since we were all just in Memphis at the same time, because we only see each other all in person like every other year, maybe. We did a crossover event with another Cereal Box Network show, the Ice Cream Queens, where we did a photo shoot together. And because we were crossing over two shows, we also crossed over universes where we did X-Men and they did Death and Delirium from Sandman in like the DC universe. So crossing over shows meant crossing over fandoms, and you can always make it work. But sometimes when you go to a specialty con, focusing less on having to figure those things out can be nice.
Right. And I went to the Superman celebration last year in my Green Lantern cosplay. And so for that one, I even saw like a few like Marvel characters there. And we kind of jokingly went like, hey, you're in the wrong universe. But of course,
Just go ahead.
Right, that one, like, there was definitely a wide variety of, like, DC cosplay, so despite the theme, like, there was still plenty of justification for, like, the broader DC universe represented.
Yeah, and I mean, I've even seen, like, Link and Zelda cosplayers and stuff at the Superman celebration. There's no reason for a convention to not be welcoming to people who are off theme.
Right.
Including
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing too with another friend of mine from Arizona. We did a little mashup of Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker and Natasha Romanoff and Bucky Barnes. Since there's plenty of edits out there as Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker and some with Scarlett Johansson as Mara Jade. So we gotta be like, hey, we gotta like bring out some underrated couples in some way at that convention.
a really good point.
I love Mara Jade so much. I also have a Mara Jade costume, so I'm just like super, super happy to meet other Mara Jade cosplayers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of dressed like her a little bit too for this episode, but have Jada's hair more so.
Yeah. Yep. Do you guys want to go in depth for people who are less familiar with the individual fandoms on who you're dressed as? I probably should have asked sooner.
Well, so I'll start with me. So since my Nightcrawler outfit is quite a lot to put on, I decided to do something a little more casual. And considering the thumbnail, I did like the Father Kurt outfit for that Sunday of Uncanny Experience. And I figured I'd kind of debut my latest outfit, Father Matt Murdock from the new Daredevil comics. So anyone not familiar, he's his whole memories have been wiped, but he's been like kind of brought back into New York as a priest, where he can like kind of finally live out some kind of like dream of his, although he's still kind of being brought into the Man Without Fear mantle. It's a really good series. I'd highly recommend if you want to follow Daredevil comics.
You're definitely gonna have to send me a copy.
Yeah, let me add that to my never-ending list of Daredevil stuff I'm not caught up on. And Alex, do you want to explain more about your character for the audience?
So yeah, I'm basically having Mara Jade's shoulder straps, her iconic white scarf, or what she uses to like sometimes cover her head, and like stealth missions, and of course her handy little goggles here, and went with these wrist cuffs to represent her like armbands in lieu of her gloves and all that stuff. So basically, for any Mara Jade cosplayers, you need all the black and brown you could get, I would say.
Agreed. And then, you know, if you're throwing in like off-white or something that's gotten like dirty that used to be white, on the other hand, too. Seriously, if you've got a bunch of leftover stuff that got like dirty from a different convention or something, put together like an assassin spy type of character, because almost all of them have excuses to wear stuff that's gotten dirty from them trying to make a quick exit. Like, and oh, by the way, Fred Keir says, if you need a Palpatine for your Mara Jade, let me know.
Oh yeah, one day, crossing my fingers, I'll get back to cosplaying my girl a little bit more accurately with the right hair color.
Yeah, same with Luke, because earlier this summer we did Mara Jade and Luke for the Heir to the Empire, the Thrawn trilogy books covers, but I didn't really have the hair for that, so I'm hoping definitely improve on that next time she's bringing back Mara Jade.
Yeah, and Alex, I still think you're very recognizable even with the different colored hair. Like,
True.
The goggles over the white scarf really sells the character for me. So, and Fred's Palpatine is amazing. Have you guys seen Fred Keir's Palpatine cosplays before?
Not sure, but I'm pretty sure he's probably done it on point.
Oh yeah, it's really good. We've featured photos of it in some other episodes before too, so like it's really good. Highly recommend teaming up with Fred if you can.
Yeah, next year we're planning on Jagged Fell and Jaina Solo for C2E2.
Yes, so excited for that.
Yeah, I'm like really new to the expanded universe. I read the Thrawn trilogy for the first time last year because somebody requested, one of my friends who doesn't cosplay himself was like, I would really love to see you as Mara Jade. And I'm like, you know, I've heard about Mara Jade. She sounds super cool, but I kind of want to like actually read some of the stuff with her before I put the costume together. So,
right.
Yeah,
Also, Force comics are a really nice, like, quick read too.
Mm-hmm. Also, I mean, I got my start with the expanded universe reading through like Wikipedia and stuff like that, because that's something we've talked about some on a lot of shows on the Serial Box Network in general, whether it's like Comic Books The New Class or any of the cosplay focus shows or whatever. Like, it's okay because there's more comics for just about any franchise you could get into than you will ever have time to catch up on. It is okay to read summaries to fill in the gaps and then just figure out which runs of the comics you want to start with after you give yourself the background information from, seriously, something like Wikipedia. That does not make you any less of a fan.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did like earlier this fall for my Daredevil outfit, like from like one of the latest Daredevil runs where he has like a hood and like kind of a more ninja outfit. I haven't read that whole one, but I've gotten enough comics and knowledge from the Marvel wiki.
I used to only read the Elektra comics and would get the backstory from the Daredevil stuff I needed on the internet to understand the Elektra comics. So, like, no judgment here.
That's another couples that we're going to be doing for sometime next year. So excited for that.
Me too.
It's funny. I actually used the rest of this fabric to cut her for a scarf together for that.
That's cute. I love when you can like fabric share where you have enough left over to pass on to the next. I actually cut out a Mia Speedy like yellow arrow for a cowgirl version of it for a photo shoot I did today where I could add it at the last second to this like fringed leotard that I have because a friend was like, oh, I have a bunch of leftover yellow vinyl. What cosplayer doesn't need yellow vinyl? So
yep, I'm always telling my closest friends, hey, I got a bunch of this stuff. Anything you want to put together, let me know.
Red 4-way stretch. That's something you got to have in your fabric tote somewhere. So if you've got extra and you've got a friend who's new to cosplay, just be like, here you go. Here's some red 4-way stretch. You think you don't need it now, but you will.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it'll be a little while until I become Mara again. So I had to kind of hand paint one of my other Han Solo holsters a darker brown than it originally came in and touch up the blaster to eventually give over to Brendan for more Han and Leia stuff. We recently did their indoor versions for Halloween. So that was also pretty fun. And I basically handed down those accessories to him in order for me to also kind of make room for more characters like Jaina Solo to cosplay and all that other fun stuff. So yeah, it basically helps to also do some leather trading. If you decide, oh, I want to do other characters, here you can have XYZ if you're going to do this other character.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's a couple minutes early, but I think since we've been talking a little more in detail about what we're wearing right now, we might as well do the cosplay catwalk just a little bit early. And since we never make the guests go first and I'm the only host, I guess I'll go first and I'll be quick because I think a lot of viewers have seen my dark Supergirl before, but here we go with I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay on Cosplay Cafe. And which one of you would like to go next?
Well, for mine, I got to get a little ready, so I guess I'll let Alex.
Same here. I have to actually adjust my angle really quickly, so part of the slight technical difficulties. Just give me a couple minutes.
In the meantime, if you want to put up my reference photo for anyone that's not familiar, because there's a certain comic panel that I got the inspiration from.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me... All right. The thumbnails in our program that we use to stream live are kind of small, so I might have to just put a couple up on the screen until I can figure out which one is the correct one. It's too bad we don't have some sort of like messages after this. Here we go. I found it.
Perfect.
And just let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
All right. Brendan's too sexy for his cosplay. He's too sexy for his cosplay on Cosplay Cafe. He's Daredevil, you know what I mean, as he does his ninja martial arts on the catwalk. All right. I hope it's as charming when I sing as it is when Kelly does it. Great. Alex, if you're not ready yet, that's fine.
We are experiencing some technical difficulties.
All right. Well, Alex, if you can hear us, we're ready when you are. Oh, there we go. Alex is too sexy for her cosplay. She's too sexy for her cosplay. She's a awesome Mara Jade. She's a Jedi, you know what I mean, as she does her woom woom on the catwalk.
Best redhead in the galaxy.
Yep. And Alex, you are muted. So if you want to unmute yourself or if you're muted for a reason, there you go.
Yeah. Just don't want to like Yeah, I just don't want too much background noise of me being so clumsy with my lightsaber and God knows how long.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure especially our audio only viewers appreciate that because like getting a bunch of clattering when you can't see what it is can sometimes make you wonder if there's like a problem with your headphones or your computer or something. So,
And my saber is pretty loud. I make this joke since I'm Filipino American. I don't want my lightsaber to be as loud and as obnoxious as I am.
yeah, I married into a Cuban family too, and it's just like, sometimes whenever you're in like a subcultural group in the US, there's like set volumes for different things. I get it. I get it. Well, since I have been letting Brendan answer all the questions first, I think it's only fair that I show Alex's photos first. Are you ready to talk some about your submissions?
Yes, absolutely, hun.
All right. And then when we get to Brendan's, he was actually super on theme and sent a bunch of photos that were specifically from specialty conventions. So, and he
Right.
wasn't even,
Might as well let Alex introduce some of her signature cosplays as well.
yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for doing that part of the work for me. I didn't have to provide examples. All right.
So,
Alex, there you go. Yep.
yeah, this was one of the specialty, my signature cosplays. I was referencing a mashup of Luke and Mara Jade. My friend, he like typed out the whole marriage dialogue between Luke and Mara, where he asked her to marry her, and then she said, even regardless, yes, she'll still marry her. So basically, that's what this picture is. Luke / Buggy proposing to Mara and Nat, just like this whole thing with underrepresented couples just mashed up into one for such an awesome picture like this.
Right. And it's so great. And I love that you also have a corollary here where I'm assuming this is like another one of those examples where you like use the same format, but for different characters.
Or yeah, just traditional Luke and Mara. Both Austin and Mitch, they were like great sports with those photos, really good chemistry all around with those like proposal photos as well.
Proposals photos are so cute. I am really surprised I don't have any. I've done engagement photo shoots between characters and a wedding photo shoot between characters, but never a proposal. What's wrong with me?
And well, you can go ahead for that, Brendan.
Oh, well, I mean, I felt if you wanted to give a little of that since you kind of spearheaded that project.
Well, yeah, that's another immersive couples picture kind of situation where we had a local photographer work with us for spooky season, and she came up with really good photos for composition and depth to create another iconic couple, Rick and myself as Evie, which I also really have a big soft spot for the Mummy. That's also one of my signatures as well.
Also, big fans of the Mummy on this show. All of us. If you don't like the Mummy, you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
And because of all you guys pushing me to watch it, I finally got around to that just a month or two ago.
You're welcome. You are welcome. And for those who can't see their screen at the moment, this is another great example. Different poses. My brain is not turning what I'm seeing in a picture into words for descriptions. Okay.
Well, I suppose I can pick up from there. We basically walked into this little entryway at an Egyptian exhibit at a local museum, and our photographer suggested for us to stand a certain way and look as if we're entering in from a cave entrance. I would say to look for the bracelet of Anubis or something like that.
Yeah, very specific about like getting in the moment pictures, not just like staring at the camera, like something that actually looks like we're in the moment in the movie.
Yeah, I love when photographers are able to help direct something like that. That is, it makes it feel less like a cosplay photo when you're not just staring directly at the camera. All right. And I think, Alex, is this the last photo I have that was from your email?
Yeah, that should be one of them. That's another one of those specialty con photos where my friend and I are traditional Luke and Mara. He was loaning me his Emperor's hand saber for the day, and we ran into another author and content creator as Arnie's Jada Solo, who I will be next year, and we even had a picture with Randy Stradley himself. Since he was just standing here, I said to him, "Hey, might as well get into the family picture. This is what you helped edit it and things like that."
I love that. I love that. All right. And now we are getting into, hopefully I was able to keep them arranged in the correct order. Brendan is going to talk about some of the specialty convention photos that he supplied.
Yeah, so this is one of like the many panels they had throughout that weekend. Possibly, I looked at some of their social media. This might be one of the ones that Claremont hosted. So they had him and other the high profile guests host panels throughout the weekend.
I love seeing all the different cosplayers like in one big photo in a group like that, even just in a panel.
That was another one I gleaned from their social media of like just people entering the place, and you can see that kind of gives off that like school / mansion kind of entrance there.
It really does. Like if this wasn't staged, it looks like it was.
Then yeah, they had like that's like the little mini like dealers hall there. They have like some good number of comic vendors, some toy vendors, and artist vendors as well. And then I believe that particular table is one of the actors they had, because like in addition to the voice actors, they had a couple from the movies. Chief among them was the guy that played Colossus. Can't remember his name, but yeah, they had some of the film actors. And then yeah, there's the graduation ceremony. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stick around for that, but that was hosted by Claremont himself. So they had like their own, they had a bunch of caps and stuff, apparently, and, like diplomas he handed out.
Yeah, I wish more conventions had like built-in role play moments on the schedule for this, like where you can sort of participate more than just sitting and listening to a panel. I love that you got to go to a con that does stuff like that.
Right. And so this was one of the pretty immersive parts. In many areas of the convention, they were reserved for special. They represented specific things. So this was Wolverine's room, and
I recognized it right away. It's the photo on the side of the bed table that gives it away.
Picture they had the photo. So like sometimes, so they actually had. So if you'll scroll through some of the other photos, you'll see they had like their own kind of cosplayers there. They were kind of acting as the official like characters, almost like a Disney Parks thing, which I thought was really neat. So they had like these like pretty popular cosplayers, like as the main X-Men. Like this guy here was Wolverine, height accurate, I might add. And
that's awesome.
Be hanging around everywhere, and like sometimes just chilling in his room where you could like take pictures with him. And of course I had to get a picture of him doing this.
Fred says, I thought the photo was Morph, winky face. Yeah, and then some of the ones I scrolled through while looking for the ones with the specific actors were showing the scenery where it looks a lot like Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. This seems like it was a really awesome event.
Oh, it was. This is one of the many group shoots they had throughout the weekend.
I love that building exterior in there behind it. We saw that one.
Then that's a photo we got with him at the bar counter.
Nice. So are you Nightcrawler in this one, or yeah, okay, that's what I thought. But once you put face paint on a person, I'm just like squint.
And there's me trying on the Cerebro. That was another immersive like prop that they had during the weekend.
That's amazing.
Then that's like the other part of the third floor. We got some photos there. I know I believe Joseph is the Gambit there. If I see him right. Yeah.
Well, if you're not, he'll just have to forgive you.
Tin Man. Then that's my my latest version of Nightcrawler I did for that event, specifically the Hellfire Gala outfit, because they had the Hellfire Gala as their nightlife.
I have so many Hellfire Gala costumes on my like dream wish to make in the future cosplay lists, let me tell you.
I'm planning to bring it back for next C2E2 for like Saturday night, so definitely would love to get a whole group together.
Kelly is trying to get me to go to C2E2 next year, so maybe I'll have to do one of the Emma Frost Hellfire Gala outfits.
Another photo I got, that was that Sunday when I was doing my Father Kurt outfit. And then this was in the game room, that one of the photos you showed earlier with the arcade machine. So like another one of the special rooms they had was like a bunch of tabletop and arcade things. And so here with Tin Man and Gina, we played a X-Men D&D, where he had a whole map of the mansion and a whole bunch of figures that they are working on painting like last minute.
I like how the Sentinels are built to scale.
Yeah, and so we had like a whole campaign we played that Saturday night, and it was just very crazy. If I had more time, I would go into detail about all the crazy stuff we did for that campaign, but it was a great time to spend that night. And then this was the panel we actually got to host like last minute, because they have Joseph and Gina have friends in the leadership, and they told them how like we do a lot of our game show themed panels. And so this here was Family Feud, because we have like a lot of Marvel DC surveys we've done in the past, and so we kind of reused all the X-Men related ones and got to host that last minute.
Is this from that same panel or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
same panel room. In fact, that was actually right after that panel. Funny story was Chris Claremont was there, like getting set up as we were like taking our stuff. And it is funny because I've met him several times now, and I didn't really feel that starstruck seeing him like right behind me. I was just kind of like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?"
a lot of comic book legends are so casual with their fans. Like whenever I meet Bob Hall, he's like a superstar, but he's just so friendly, and I've run into him at so many events, and I'm just like, oh hey, it's Bob, you know.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know if he remembers me or feels the same way about me, but like,
well, the first time I met Claremont, he actually took a picture of me in my Nightcrawler outfit with a whole bunch of other cosplayers and posted Instagram. So
it's amazing when the artists are like, I want a photo of your costume.
Right. And there's another group photo that we did out in the outside of the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Then another photo I got in my Priest Nightcrawler.
All right. Did you submit stuff that wasn't in that like zipped together folder for me that I don't have in here, or is that the end of your photos?
Yeah, I believe that's all that I submitted.
Okay, all right. And I don't know if we had any guest submissions or not, because I had so many technical difficulties going into this. We were actually, for those who weren't here, in the green room discussing it before time. My laptop was dead and my charger was not available for a while, like days before the show. So if you submitted, if any of you out in the viewers submitted the viewer submission photos, I will track them down and post them to our social media, highlighting them that was for our specialty con episode. And I appreciate all y'all's patience with me while I work through catching up. Oh, Fred wants to know, where was this con? He says he's sorry he missed that.
Oh, the Uncanny Experience?
The Uncanny Experience. And where's the location for that?
So that was in Minneapolis, and it was at this place in like the downtown area called the Minneapolis Club. So it was like some kind of fancy place. They had like stuff like weddings and like special events. So they rented it out for that weekend.
It's the perfect location, though. Like, I would not be surprised if you told me, oh, yeah, this is a permanent structure that's like an X-Men museum when they're not doing a convention or something, because it looks so good for the Xavier School.
Right. I always thought if they ever had to do a different location, you know, being biased with the area I live in, that the University of Chicago would be a great choice.
Yeah, a lot of universities in Indiana, I think, also would make really good Xavier School for gifted youngsters, at least outside facades, because Indiana is really big on like limestone building facades. So
Right. It'd be really great to like take advantage of those things. Like I would love to host like a themed convention at something like that. Maybe do like a whole specific, like maybe do like a more broader theme, like a Victorian or like supernatural theme. Like that would be something really cool to do.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Kelly and I have this like dream of putting together like a literary convention that we run. I mean, we know some exist, but we want to host our own in an area that would be somewhere between where she lives and where I live, that would be really focusing on like trying to bring characters that have been like described in the pages to life in your costume. And also just focusing a lot more on like the author side of like celebrity guests and stuff like that. So
Right. Promoting local authors.
yeah, stuff like that. Or I mean, even like authors from across the country, but who maybe haven't been invited to as many things because they haven't had a film adaptation yet or something, you know?
Right.
Like, because I find that authors actually make very interesting guest stars, partially because a lot of people have writing as a creative outlet, even if they aren't authors by trade. And so that makes them relatable and accessible right away to people who attend a convention. So I don't know. I really like it when authors are part of the programming of conventions.
Right. Especially when they're like, you know, fellow nerds like you know.
Yeah.
I mean, well, are in some way. It just gives off like, you know, to talk about what your influences were, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of having authors and comic book artists and people who aren't necessarily like actors as guest stars, this year the Multiverse Fundraiser, which is an event sponsored entirely by the Cereal Box Network that Kelly and I are on the board for, is going to be hosted this January. And we are focusing, because the charity this year is comic books for kids, getting comic books to kids in hospitals. We have a lot of really great comic guests, and our authors panel and our indie comic creators panel are going to be focused on a lot more. And I actually have this really great video from our friend Chris Jowers, who does amazing in-character work, talking about that event. So I'm actually just going to play that really quick. Hey, Mr. J.
Yeah.
What are you doing in January?
Oh, I've got a number of things lined up. Going to go to Condoc, see my buddy Teth Adam. Then I'm going to go by Apocalypse, hang out with Darkseid. And then I'm going to be part of the Multiverse Fundraiser, where we're going to be raising charity for comic books for kids. These kids need to know how to be in the Legion of Doom the right way, and only comic books can teach them that way. So make sure you check all your social media platforms for just when to sign up and tune in. And we're going to have fun.
So, yeah, just segueing right there into that one, because we, this January, go to facebook.com/the multiverse fundraiser. It's like fundraiser without the D, or go to themultiversefundraiser.com to learn more about that event that's coming up, because it's for a great cause. We're going to have great programming. And, you know, also we just love getting to interact with you all, like whenever we do these discussion panels and stuff like that. Audience participation, it's a free virtual convention, and audience participation is like really, really encouraged. Like if you have questions, there's like really good odds you're going to get to ask the artists and authors your question without having to like stand in line forever. So that's the end of my soapbox for our charity event that we have going on in January.
I'll definitely have to tune in for that.
Oh yeah, we would really love to have you. And we've got about 10 minutes left on our episode and 2 guests here. So I think I'm going to transition a little early into asking you guys what your advice is to either people who are just getting into cosplay or words of encouragement you have for someone who's going through something really specific in their cosplay journey. So if there's one of you who would like to go first while the other one collects your thoughts, like raise your hand. Brendan, you have an excellent, thoughtful face.
If you want to go first, otherwise I have like one kind of minor thing that I usually like to tell everybody if you want to use some time to think. Yeah, let's I'll let Brendan go first, but he did offer Alex to go first. I feel like a jerk like doing I don't want to lose track of what I'm doing. So I'm just going in the same direction on my screen each time. So Brendan, I'm going to put you in full screen here and you can give your cosplayer advice. Sure. Well, it's like I always like to tell people, especially from like personal experience, like, you know, seeing others. When it comes to cosplay, if you don't get it right the first time, it's always great to improve throughout your cosplay journey. So never feel like you have to get it correct the first time around. It's always great seeing the evolution of like the outfits and your projects. So never feel like it has to be correct the first time. That is great advice. It's so true. The first time I wear a costume out, even if I think it's done, after I've been wearing it, I realize there's something else I could add or something. And a lot of times it's just, if you wait for it to be perfect, you're never going to wear it after you put in all that work. Be nice to yourself. Let yourself wear the stuff you worked so hard on. I love that you brought that up. Thank you. Alex, are you ready?
Yeah, I am just gonna be building off of you guys in a little bit. Yeah, wear the things you love, even though you don't think you'll get it right the first time. And especially to all people of color out there, definitely use your platform for cosplaying it to basically raise anything you like care about, whether it's more representation of Filipino Americans, Asian Americans in general, or any other underrepresented voices. Use your platforms to basically raise those who feel voiceless in a way. Use your platform to speak out and advocate for them, I would say. Like how I've also been doing with as shelling other times, just always like put the hashtag under your post. Representation matters, because it definitely always does. And call out any racism you see as much as possible, and anything else like that. Any prejudice, call that out as much as possible. And, you know, always know that there will be someone like myself and Brendan and Crayle to lean on if you're going through any bullcrap, any drama. We're always going to be there for you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for mentioning that you can message other cosplayers if you're going through something hard. When we bring up our where to find us later, any of the Cosplay Cafe channels, if you just need to talk to somebody because you're having a hard time for something to do with your cosplay convention or creative stuff going on, reach out to us. There's 3 of us. You know, you're not going to be burdening people who've put the offer out there for help and to reach out to. So, and thank you for offering yourself and Brendan also. Right. And just not to segue off too much, but like if anyone is familiar in the Chicagoland area of like any recent like drama that's been going on, just remember that those of us who are like true deep down to earth nerds and geeks, we're always there. We don't care about any like
about causing any drama or like being any clout chasers. We're like truly down for like doing our geeky shared passions and hobbies, no matter like what background or what like your worldviews are. We're always there for doing fun stuff that we all share. So always know that Chicagoland Cosplay Creations, CWC, we're all like wholesome groups for anybody.
Yeah. Before we segue into where to find you guys out on the internet, actually, do either of you want to take a moment to talk about what CWC is or what Chicagoland Cosplay is?
Yeah, sure. I mean, since I'm part of both of them, I can, or at least Alex as a member for CCC, she could give a little something about that. But as I'm an actual member of CWC, it's a great chance to like use cosplay to do something like charitable, to like give back to the community. So Jen Greeley, Orange Goldfish on Instagram, she's a great cosplayer / photographer. She does like she shows up to a lot of our photo shoots, events, and she runs the whole like chapter in like Illinois of CWC. I think the Midwest chapter she runs, but occasionally I go out to her events, and they're just really nice, full of a lot of passionate people that really love bringing their characters to life for children and families.
Mm-hmm. And what does CWC stand for
Oh,
viewers?
Yes. Cosplayers with a cause.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I love about them most is how they really don't care like how much you put into the outfit, as long as like, you know, you're recognizable. Because like there are some groups that I've like noticed they're a little more like specific, that like you wear like, you know, some official expensive outfits, but like CWC, like they don't care as long as the kids will enjoy it.
Alex, are there any cosplay organizations you're a part of that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I basically have been a regular at Chicagoland Cosplay Creations, where, as Brendan said, we don't really want to divide the cosplay and geek community in any way. We just welcome anyone regardless and try not to tolerate any little, if any, and no drama. We're really welcoming of everyone regardless, and we'll also focus on one specific theme most of the time. For example, we have done a Gotham shoot where I was also Black Widow, so I figured I might as well get some solo shoots and like still just hang out, have a great time with Chicagoland Cosplay Creations. I've even volunteered at the booth from time to time, promoting how great of a group me, Brendan, and like anyone else who has participated in those shoots are. We're basically just really genuine people looking to have a great time and like basically make people happy whenever they see us in our cosplays when we do shoots with as Chicagoland Cosplay Creations, things like that. Just really big collective creative community, I would say.
Yeah, I actually was at that Gotham shoot. It was my first time, even though I don't live in the Chicago area and stuff like that. I went because a friend went, and everybody was so welcoming, so excited to meet me after hearing about me from another friend. Like, it was a really great event. You guys were really concerned about making sure things were accessible for everybody and making sure that like the locations were going to be great and fun, and the end product, people are going to all have photos they were happy with. And you guys had multiple photographers who were all super kind about making sure everybody got the photos they wanted after you put in the work to do to make your costume or collect your costume and then get to the location and stuff. The photographers were really great. Like, it's a great group. I'm not a member.
That had to be like our largest turnout we had, now that I think about it.
It was a lot of people, but it still felt like everybody got attention and photos and stuff because you guys organized it really well.
Everybody gets like some kind of, everybody gets like seen.
Mm-hmm. No, it was really great. And so segueing into you guys' individual stuff, Brendan, if people want to look up more of your cosplay, where can they find you?
Sure. Mostly I'm active on Instagram at Ouimet Cosplay. I'm posting my like new outfits, sometimes works in progress, things like that.
And viewers, if you need help spelling that, it's in the episode description. So copy paste from there. Alex, where can people find more of your cosplay?
Same thing. I am mostly active on Instagram. It's just my first and last name, Alexandra Acain _snapshots.98. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but it definitely gives leeway into who I am as both a cosplayer and a person, I would say.
And that's also in the description. So if copy paste is easier for you, we've tried to make it so that everybody can follow our great guests who put out great costumes and are fun to talk to. So if you want to find anything about me or any of my other two hosts, Andrea and Kelly, you can go to our link tree. It's linktree.com/cosplay cafe podcast. So that has all the different social medias that we're on, and then also our creative projects that you guys hear us talking about sometimes, like Kelly's books, if Andrea is going to be at a convention selling the corsets that she makes, or my Pokeballs. And since I'm the only host tonight, I'm going to abuse my power and show you an extra example of the Pokeballs that I make and some of the other products. It's Pokemon dioramas. If you go to CrayleVanest.com/homepage and sign up using any of the links that talk about a newsletter or an email list, I'm sending out Black Friday coupons and sales soon. So that's my spiel. Buy handmade, holidays are coming up, custom order slots are filling up. And not just for me, if you're ordering anything custom from other artists, if you could start thinking about what you need now and contacting people. I know Halloween just ended, but when people hand make things one at a time to make sure you get what you want, start reaching out to artists. And that's my other soapbox that I will step off of now. All right. I have had a wonderful time talking to both of you. Alex, I know we super briefly met at a photo shoot, but it was really great to get to spend some time actually talking with you. And I really hope I see both of you at some events in the Chicago area next year. Yep.
Definitely pushing for C2E2 next year.
Yep, same here.
All right. Well, viewers, if you want to check out any events that any of the cosplay groups are doing at the Chicago events, especially C2E2, go be like, hey, I saw Brendan and Alex. Are they here? And maybe you'll also get to be privileged and honored to meet these two lovely people.
Oh, for sure. Next month, on the 16th, we'll be at the Brookfield Zoo for our holiday shoot. So definitely come down in any festive outfits for some photos at their holiday lights.
Yeah. And a week before that, and I'll just chime in for this really quickly, there will be a small free convention in the downtown Chicago area called Pocket Con, basically surrounding POC and Black comic creators and comic book artists. Basically, it's like a good free con to also support more underrepresented voices and get more of that activism in, and just basically lifting up more underrepresented voices in such communities, and basically getting along with other fellow nerds of color like myself, I would say.
Yeah, so if you're in the area, make sure you check that out. And right before we go, Fred said, Brendan, he loves your King of the Hill group. So
oh yes,
I
we
need
all
to
bring that to every convention. So even for a couple hours,
I need to see more of that too. I'm a huge King of the Hill fan.
For our fan expo shoot that we did. So I'll be posting that when that does come out.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Johnny Hardwick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, viewers and guests, I've had a lovely time. I hope we encouraged you all to try out some specialty conventions if you've never been to one. And we hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Bye. Have a great rest of your week, everyone.
Cosplay Cafe is sponsored by whycosplay.com, which is your one-stop shop for quality costumes and cosplay supplies. So click on the link in our show notes to get a 20% off discount. Or not, if you hate saving money. I don't know you. I don't know your life. Clicking on the link does help support our show, so you know what? Just do the thing. Do the thing.